What qualifications did you get that helped you get to your position?
I had a BBC apprenticeship, so basically I had a degree level course working in the BBC. So I used to have 6 months working on site and then 6 months going to college. It's still a thing which we do. If you look up the BBC talent ticket, they take in an intake once every 6 months or so. It's awesome. It's so different from when I did it. Basically, you spend up to about 2 years being bussed around, doing all sorts of jobs, from Jeremy Vine on Radio 2 to working on Newsbeat to maybe working with the World Service, and you get sent around doing lots of different jobs, gathering experience, and then eventually coming out with some sort of trade. But if you're looking at further education courses, make sure your course has some connection with the media. I had a slightly unfortunate story. I had a cousin who did a degree level course and a postgrad, and she said to me, I'm halfway through my postgrad. I was wondering at what point do you reckon in a course that the editors are going to visit us and headhunt the best people on the course and absorb them into the newsroom? So I said, I didn't know that was a thing. I said, out of interest, are there any people on your course that do work experience or work for free in radio stations? She said, oh yeah, there are 3 of them. They do that all the time down the local radio station or over at regional TV. They're never available to go down the pub. And it's all about the experience. And now that we're in so much open media now with Facebook, with Instagram, you can do much of it yourself. It used to be really tough to get work experience, but the fact is you can absorb yourself with experience just by opening yourself to so many different platforms. You might be surprised, you might not be, that the kids have left Facebook. We know exactly our demographics on Facebook, and it's now 30 plus. So, of your age group, what's the social media platform you think you use the most? Instagram, Snapchat,
YouTube.
Yeah. So basically, the Facebook is a much older audience now. Happened about 18 months ago. Suddenly, all the parents joined Facebook to keep an eye on their kids on Facebook, and all the kids thought, "This is rubbish. Our parents are here too. We're going to go off to Instagram." But all the parents went, "Oh, Facebook. This isn't really." So now the demographics, so we have to change our content. That story we might do for Instagram is a very different story to tell on TV, and a very different story to tell on Facebook. So it's all about knowing what your audience is as well. But answering your question, it's all about experience, but also about enjoying what you're doing as well. Find something which really ignites your enthusiasm. That probably goes with any career in any profession, but find something which you really enjoy doing. I mean, I love the news aspects side of things. Others might more enjoy the technical, the video editing. Find something and then just drown yourself in as much experience as possible. And although it sounds like something boring that one of your lecturers might say, watch stuff, be informed, follow Donald Trump on Twitter and see the reaction and see who interacts with him. Follow the people that you love, follow the people that you dislike. See how people use different digital platforms to get a message across. Sunday morning politics on American TV is one of the busiest times, still very powerful Sunday morning TV for political reporting. Watch what Donald Trump is tweeting on Saturday lunchtimes, because on Saturday lunchtimes he always does an outrageous tweet to change the direction of the political programmes on Sunday mornings. So at the moment it's all about taking a knee during the national anthem in America with the American football players, but it's completely diverting away from other potentially more important but drier political stories. Anyway, enjoy your tour today.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Richard.
That's
it's
all right.
Good to see you. So yeah, any more questions for Richard?
One more.
Yes.
Any advice for getting into the BBC?
The talent tick is a very good thing. Don't be disheartened, basically. It is still a really awesome place to work, and that means it attracts an awful lot of attention. But the best way to make yourself seem attractive to a position is to find a wide breadth of experience before you go. Knock on the door and say, I knocked on the door and actually I helped out a Children in Need evening, and I was 16 at the time, and just said, I'm in my local radio station, it's Children in Need night in a month's time, do you need a volunteer to help something? And they were desperate for helpers. And that gave me a chance to basically be surrounded in it and get myself an impression of, would I like to work here? There are lots of radio stations. There are community radio stations now Bristol has a community. Made in Bristol is the community
TV
television
programme,
station. That's a great place to earn your sort of stars and see and try things out. They're desperate for help. Make yourself available, but also do stuff yourself. You know, set yourself up a Twitter account, set yourself up a YouTube channel, play at doing stuff, and find things that engage you as well. Because the first thing anybody will say with a job interview at the BBC is, "What have you watched the last week which has made you interested?" And also, one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're going for BBC jobs is, "Our boss is a killer question." Always the second question is, "What did you think of last night's programme?" And if someone says, "Oh well, yeah, I missed that actually. I was watching Made in Chelsea actually," he will ask the interviewee to leave the room. So better, you know, if you're going for a job at the Natural History Unit, express your love for penguins as much as possible. If you're going for a job at Points West, you know, make watching the programme a priority every breathing moment, and just cover yourself in local news. Know your topic. Be prepared in everything you do. Now I'm going back into scat leader mode. I don't mean to, but it's that sort of thing. There's so much out there, and also a lot more opportunities. BBC is a great opportunity, but BBC is more likely to be interested in somebody who's already shown an avid interest. Do stuff through college, do college projects, involve yourself in college productions and things. Learn the tech, be friendly to cameramen at all times.
Dave is coming in to have a little chat about camera and technologies and things like that, aren't you, Dave? So.
But yeah, nice to meet you all. And as I said, remember how nice I was to you today. If you should meet me and you're my boss in 5 or 10 years' time. I did a training course at Television Centre a few years back, and somebody bounced up to me and said, "Oh, Richard, thank you very much for the course." I went, "That's fine." He said, "Do you remember me?" And I went, "No." He said, "Oh, I'm Rupert. I came on a work experience and you're the person that I followed all day." And I said, "And what do you do now?" He said, "Oh, I edit the 10 o'clock news." I went, "Oh God, was I nice to you?" So yeah, but enjoy. It is a tremendously fun job to be in, but deep down it's all about storytelling. It's all about good pictures and good storytelling.
Thank you, Richard.
Nice to meet you.
Great. Thank you. Lovely.
I started at I did a couple of years in Bristol, was Brunel College at the time, probably doing something similar to you guys, where it was called design. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was basically a very broad-based course. I then went on to do film and television production in Salisbury for 3 years, and then I was rather fortunate that when I finished my course, they were advertising for a trainee post here in Bristol, which was great because I'm from Bath, so that worked out well. Unfortunately for me, I got it. I'm sure, and I heard one of you ask how you get into the industry. For me, that was my route in. So having done the training that I'd done for the previous 6 years, I then was offered on-the-job training with the promise of a job at the end of it, which was great. And I don't think Richard mentioned, but as one of the routes in, the BBC do I don't know if it's every year, but they do periodically run like apprenticeships. And we have actually, it's a shame she's not here today because she was going to be training with me. She's on one of those apprenticeships, so I think they go all around the country to various different BBC sites. And then at some point, she's been appointed to BBC Bristol, so she's training with us. And that's a good route in, because I'm not sure whether she's got the guarantee of a job, but either way, she's getting great experience, much like yourself. And then the crucial thing is getting on the job, like work experience in whatever means that is, really. That's kind of one of the best routes in, is to keep hassling people for work experience. There's some guys here that often get requests, some of the journalists and some of my colleagues in the newsroom get direct emails or whatever from people requesting work experience, and I know some of them, which is a top tip, and I tell all my nephews and everything else, is they're told that apply more than once, because if you write one email and they kind of ignore it, forget it, gets forgotten, if you keep going, keep contacting and hassling, then eventually they think, oh well, they're keen, and that's kind of the best tip for kind of getting any kind of work experience. Typical day for me, I've got my own kit and car and work from home. So I'm basically working off the end of a phone. They just ring up, say, go here, there and everywhere. That's pretty much how a day pans out for me. So I go from one job to the next. And then at the end of the day, I either end up in here, there's usually 2 of us on camera in the studio, or out on an OB, either of those options. And we seem to be doing more and more live things. I don't know, I can't remember whether you said you haven't toured much yet, but we have got various means of doing lives now. That traditionally was always just with a satellite truck. So the camera crew would rock up, work with the satellite engineer to do a live OB. The satellite truck, our one particularly, can handle, I think it's 4 cameras maximum. Might be more, but it's around about that. So it's a multi-camera facility. We've now also got technology where we've got these kind of rucksacks with a live facility in, and what they are is lots of SIM cards that operate over all the phone networks. There's a SIM card for every phone network. The signal gets combined, and we can plug it straight into the camera, and the camera can effectively go live back into Bristol. That's the big kind of step with live technology.